This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about.
You all ready for this?
This is a sham.
No.
Nope.
Y'all, just stop.
Get real.
Welcome to DBL. Good to see Al back. Hello, everyone out there. For weeks now, college campuses have become ground zero for protests over the war in Gaza. And last night, things really escalated. I don't know if you've seen this, but at UCLA, police were called in by the university in response to violence that broke out. Counter demonstrators attacked a barricade, here it is, surrounding the pro-Palestinian encampment. Fights breaking out between both sides. People threw fireworks, others used pepper spray to defend themselves. Last night, this is in New York, police used a large armored vehicle with a special bridge to enter and clear a Columbia University building that protesters had occupied earlier this week. About 300 people were arrested. But not every college protest has been bad. At Brown University, Al's alma mater, protesting students hugged and congratulated each other. They also voluntarily took down their encampment after the university actually agreed to take some action. They held a vote and they agreed to get rid of investments in companies who are profiting from the war in Gaza. We haven't discussed this on DBL, and I think it's time we all do. What do we all think of the protests? What are the universities doing about them? Al, what do you think about all these protests, especially on your alma mater?
Just looking at that gigantic police truck come in, the last time I saw that, besides at Puffy's house, was at the George Floyd protests. And I remember thinking, is this going to de-escalate or escalate the situation when you bring in a military vehicle? Colleges, since as long as I can remember, have been kind of ground zero for protests. We saw that at Kent State in 1972 when 4 students sadly lost their life. 1970. Was it 70?
Yeah,
Thank you. 70. You know, with 4 students losing their life. Sit-ins, protests, it's the way that these young people are starting to galvanize and use their voice. And I think when you come in and extinguish it with, weaponry that you only see on a battlefield, I don't know how that's going to do anything but escalate into violence, which is what we've seen. I feel like they have a right to speak. I feel like sit-ins have happened forever, and I feel like protests should be uncomfortable. People never want their protests to block their street or to affect their commute, but that's what the bus protest and the sitting in was. It was to affect change. And so I don't know if this is the best way to go about how they're handling that.
Tori, I'm interested in hearing your point of view, because obviously this touches you in a different way.
Yeah, it's funny, and I just want to make it clear, I guess Brown has decided, they haven't held the vote, but they're going to have the vote and do the not invest in companies, I guess, that have profited in the war in Gaza. So here's my deal as being like, if I were a Jew on campus, right? If this were happening at University of Michigan when I was going there, I believe in free speech so much so that I believe in speech I don't like. I have to stand up for that, right? Colleges are a bastion of free speech, of protest, as you said. If you are sitting in a peaceful protest, I absolutely believe, even if you are saying things that would harm me or are at me or insulting me, you should be allowed to have that speech. There are things that cross the line, and when that comes in, there has to be countermeasures from the police. You also know when you're doing this, you're having consequences of a protest because you're disrupting, and if you cross a line, you can be arrested. So far, over 1,500 people have been arrested, okay? But I do want to say this, and I hope this makes sense. Hamas is not Palestine. And I want to make that really clear. Those are two different things. We can all feel empathy for both sides of what's going on right now. And as a Jew, I can also strongly want Israel to be its own state, but I can disagree with what Bibi Netanyahu is doing in Gaza. I can be a strong Zionist and still disagree with what Israel is doing all the time. I can have that discerning thought because I'm not a robot. And so I would be sitting in the peaceful protests, just like my father wrote me as a Jew. That's exactly what he would be doing. But these discussions need to happen. That's what colleges are about. And when you shut down, especially young 18, 19, 20-year-olds from talking to each other, you've become the other side. You've become authoritarianism, and that's what we don't want. What do you think? Oh, sorry, go ahead, Erica.
No, I honestly, and I appreciate your point of view because, I just think it's really important. so many people are talking about like anti-Semitism.
Correct.
They're talking about all these things, and at the root of it, so many people wouldn't even know if they were sitting next to a Jewish person.
Absolutely not.
And that's insane to me. But I also think that it's on purpose.
Yeah.
Like, I think that a lot of the conflict is on purpose. And I think that when we're talking about, the protests in general in college campuses, starting to catalyze having the conversations, and seeing the contrast of how people are protesting is important. But I think at the root, people should be asking themselves, like, what is the benefit of continuing the conflict with that? And I'm talking about college campuses purely. What is the benefit of continuing these protests without conversation?
Right.
And who benefits
And
from
who are
that?
you getting your information from? Is it TikTok? Because they hit a lot of college students with a lot of misinformation about what happened on October 7th, what went on, who was wrong. So I wonder a lot of what these kids are protesting, where their information is coming from. Is it been propagandized? What do you think, Jeff?
This is a big conversation to have within such a short period of time. Like, to Al's, I just wanted a couple of things that I heard. Like, to Al, the police coming in, they had to come in. You can't let people just pepper spray each other and start beating people up and having that kind of on your college campus. If my kid went there, I'd be like, where are the police?
Right.
Not why are the police coming in? Where are the police? This is crazy. A lot of people don't even know what they're fighting for. And again, I want to remind people this is an opinion-based talk show. I don't have all the facts, but I do have an opinion. A lot of these kids don't even know what they're fighting against.
That's what I'm saying. They get it from TikTok for 2 seconds.
Yes, Bill Maher
headline.
put up a big thing. If you don't watch Real Time or whatever, he put up a big thing at the end of his show. It's about me. That's what he's saying. These students are about me, not about what they're seeing or what's going on in the Middle East, because they have no idea. They're chanting river to the sea. They don't even know what river they're talking about.
Exactly.
They don't even know what sea they're talking about, but they're protesting. From Bill Maher's show to TikTok to Instagram to news shows, they interview many students on all these campuses, and they can't answer one question.
Exactly.
Ilhan Omar is saying whether you're pro-genocide or anti-genocide. Do people know what genocide means? It's a wiping out of an existing
It's an
of people.
extermination.
Extermination.
Correct.
Pro-genocide?
Right.
How do you even speak that rhetoric? If I use the wrong pronoun up here, I'm going to get a talking to. But you could use a word like pro-genocide? I don't know. The rhetoric has gotten really out of control, and some people are allowed to say certain things, and some people aren't, and you're not allowed to have that conversation. That's where we are. All these things the last couple of years brought us to where we are. You better not talk about it, because if you pick a side, it might mean your job.
I do want to put a quick button on this. With the numbers that we're seeing in terms of the people that are being wiped out with this, genocide is exactly the word that we have to use when we're talking about what's happening on the ground there. Like, we're talking about the extermination of a people, Jeff. Like,
But which people?
How could you say
people?
How could you be
Palestinian
pro-genocide
people.
for any side?
No one's pro-genocide. We're just saying what's happening in terms of the numbers of dead that we are seeing.
Okay, but hold on.
Yes.
But, okay, you're saying Palestinians are being exterminated. Hamas is saying we will not stop until the entire Jewish population is dead. So when you say extermination of the Palestinian people, I feel for the Gazans. I also feel like unless we get rid of the Hamas, they're going to kill all of us.
That's what the Ku Klux Klan has said about black people, but we're all still here.
Yeah, but on October 7th, they kill people. They still have hostages.
I don't think that Hamas has the capability to wipe out the Jewish people.
Is that not what they tried to do on
It's not
October
about
7th?
what they're trying to do. It's what has been done. We're talking about dead bodies, body bags.
What if they work with Iran? I'm just trying to push back because
Please.
This is where I think the conversation happens. We talk extermination. You're thinking of the Gazans, which I absolutely believe. I'm thinking of the Israelites that had a ceasefire until October 7th. So we're not even having the same conversation. They killed people, broke a ceasefire, still have hostages. I'm wondering where they are. And I'm also worried about the Gazan horrific things that we're seeing coming out of them. But even you and I weren't talking about the same people. I'm just trying to show how much the language
the
isn't
ceasefire
there.
was in place in a situation in which people had no control of their food or water. Like, there was a reason that ceasefire was
Israel
broken.
gave them the vote, and Hamas won that vote. They got rid of their political stance, and Hamas took the vote.
I'm just saying, check the numbers.
I know.
It qualifies as a genocide.
Okay. See, this is interesting, and this is good to have these conversations.
Welcome back.
Welcome back, Al. We'll be right back. Welcome back to DBL. We are going to switch gears here. We have a good debate. Y'all have one at home, and then we move on from our last segment.
I want to keep fighting.
Okay, let's do it. There are a couple of big movie premieres in LA last night. We want to go.
No, there weren't.
Oh my God! All right. Next, first off, Ryan Gosling and his co-star Emily Blunt posed on the red carpet for the Fall Guy premiere. I really want to see this. Ryan also posed with a couple of stuntmen. Watch this from the movie, who performed this move.
Oh, that's a
Little
good promotion.
stunt? Huh?
I love it.
Okay.
I like it.
Later, Ryan showed up with Mikey Day for some reason to reprise their Beavis and Butthead characters from SNL.
That's great.
I'm sorry, Mikey Day looks ridiculous. But everyone is talking about Jerry Seinfeld, who brought out his comedian friends for the Unfrosted premiere. Jerry reunited with his Seinfeld co-star Michael Richards, who played Kramer. Jay Leno also showed up. He was there with his wife Mavis, who was dealing with advanced dementia. Jay also crashed one of Jerry's interviews. Take a look at this.
Hey, Jay.
I am so sick of these hard-hitting, controversial documentaries. Can't somebody just make a comedy anymore? No, I'm really proud of him. It's great. We all started about, but he went the fastest, the highest. Because I used to tease him, when I was more well-known than him. We go places and people, oh, Mr. Leno. And then when they have to go, Jerry's a comedian. Oh, okay. And then he becomes the biggest star in the world. And, oh, Jay's a comedian. No, I'm really proud of him. It's really going to be a fun time.
Huh? What do you think, Al, seeing those comics together?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was okay.
Yeah.
It's good to see. It just wasn't that funny.
Leno's
if you just go back to what we were looking at before, Erica, with the Fall Guy promo, it was like the two stuntmen. It's like, what was that? That was kind of cool. When you're promoting a comedy, like, you got to make people laugh. And I mean, yes, that was an endearing moment, but endearing and getting people to remember to watch the movie are two different things. So, I mean, I know that wasn't planned.
Right.
But I'm just saying it wasn't that funny. But they both had great careers.
I looked at it differently. I look at situations like this. You look at Michael Richards, who clearly was canceled before canceled was a thing.
I think he was ground zero. I think he was the first person.
And you are I think of your friend group, Al, and you have all these comedians and entertainers, and it's the importance of people at the bottom compete, people at the top collaborate. And if you want to have a career that is going to stand the test of time and have some longevity, it is super important that you are very intentional about who your circle and friend groups and colleagues are. And that's what I was seeing on that carpet with that exchange.
Hungry for Pop-Tarts.
Ask Conan O'Brien about collaboration.
I was about to ask. Conan didn't feel that way about Leno. Talk to him.
If they were friends.
Yes. We'll be right back.
Welcome back. We've been saying "you go girl" since the 90s, and even before then, Tisha Campbell has been a star we've all been following. Earlier, she joined us to talk all about her latest role. Take a look.
Please welcome back to the show, Tisha Campbell.
Hello, you guys. It's been a while. It has, but we're so glad you are back. All right, before we get to your guest star role on Lopez versus Lopez, the cast of Martin reunited to our delight this year at the Emmys, and the cast joked about never being nominated for one. We are very real here and transparent. How did you feel, seriously, about that run and never getting that award?
You know what's really interesting? While we were doing it, I remember, and this is the 90s, so this is the early 90s. I remember going to the publicist for the show, and I was like, do you think we could get me nominated for, like, you know, Best Actress in a Comedy Series? And he was like, no, you know you can't.
What?
And I was like, well, you know, maybe supporting actress. He was like, Tisha, please.
What?
You know, you're not even going to get a nomination. So this is just how it is. And so we trained ourselves not to look for accolades.
Right. Wow. That is
It wasn't something that we thought was ever going to happen for us. So to be a part of the Emmys this year and to watch the diversity was in the nominations was so amazing for us.
Wow.
Well,
You know,
y'all
but it's real.
walked.
It's what happened back then.
Yeah.
Y'all walked, so now people can run. You know, I mean,
That's right,
honestly,
that's right.
you paved the way. So you recently visited the lot of Martin and revealed that your first time there was before the show even started. So why did Lenny Kravitz bring you there, and what was going on with Lenny Kravitz?
Was he wearing leather
it's
pants?
funny. I don't usually tell people, you know, people are just kind of finding out that we dated when we were kids. But I don't usually tell people because, you know, people, they get too excited. And I was like, listen, I had street cred before you found that out, so don't try it.
Right. Well, let him know.
But I was dating Lenny at the time. And he said, I have to go to my mom's job. And he never told me who his mother was. So when we arrived and I saw that Roxy Roker was his mother, I just thought, oh my gosh.
That's awesome.
Everyone's going back. Before I get to my question, I want to go back a little bit too, because I'm a huge fan of House Party, and me and my buddies stay in touch. And I just sent him a picture, or I just sent him a video when you were doing the battle. You know, when you battle the two guys in House Party. You look so good. I just said it to my buddy. Yeah, ain't my type of hype, baby. He's gonna die, and now I'm interviewing you. So I just thought it was funny because we always stay in touch and things like that.
I love that. I just showed my kids that for the first time because I train my kids not to ever look at my work. So they don't watch my work. They don't care. They literally don't care unless somebody else introduces it to them. Like a friend of mine introduced my youngest to the Martin Show, and so now he calls me Gina. He doesn't call me mommy anymore. And I just answer because I don't care. Oh. So I literally, if he calls me mommy, something's wrong. Okay.
That's
so,
cute.
but I showed them House Party for the first time, and they could, you know, they just didn't get it. They didn't get it.
Oh, man. One of my
could care less about
all-time
anything
favorites.
that I do.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. All right, let's get to it. Let's talk about Lopez versus Lopez. You are guest starring as a psychologist for George's daughter. What's the funniest thing about joining the cast? And did you have any of your own philosophies you wanted to bring in?
Well, first of all, my own psychologist was laughing hysterically when I told her that I was playing a therapist, okay? And I was like, you're laughing a little too hard. I really understand.
Take that down.
Yeah, take that down a couple of notches. But no, it was really, really great. I do play a therapist in Lopez versus Lopez, and it's a group family therapy session, intervening family session, and the comedy was just so great. Working with George again was fantastic. He's such a giving actor, and Mayan is just lovely. And I love the fact that this show derived from a post that she did of her family on TikTok.
Yeah, and it's very relatable, I think, right now going through that. I wondered if you could be open. How good are you at handling family drama in real life?
Oh, I tell them, don't play with me. Nobody wants to tell me anything. Nobody wants to hear my mouth.
Good answer.
Nobody, not my brothers, not my mother. Nobody.
Yeah. Tisha, thank you for joining us. So good to see you. DBL Nation, be sure to check out Tisha in the season finale of Lopez versus Lopez on NBC. We'll be right back.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tisha.
Thank you.
Bye, you guys.
Welcome back. Did you know that medical debt can impact your credit score? Just like any other debt, outstanding bills from your doctors can cause a lot of problems when it comes to applying for loans or buying a house. But this is also true even while you're negotiating with agencies about payments. So have you ever been worried about your credit? Are you joking?
Worried? I would almost say no, because worried meant that I felt like I could do something about it. Like, my credit almost had a decimal point at one time. But I didn't get any credit cards because it was so bad. So then, like 10 years later, I didn't even thought, they were like, yo, you've got a good score.
Yeah, I'll just tell you this, there is life after credit issues and bankruptcy.
Yes.
It took me 10 years, but now my credit is excellent.
Good for you.
But that road is a tough road.
It is.
So if you can get ahead of it,
yeah,
Try to.
Tried to do anything you can. Lots to look up on Reddit as well if you need some help. Taking care of your medical bills is important, and better benefits can help. Many Americans already on Medicare may not have a plan with all the benefits accessible to them. So reach out to Medicare Advantage advisors today. The benefits review is free. Just call 1-800-293-9930. Albert, we have to hear about your trip.
Oh, well, it was great. I went to Mexico with the girl. You know, we had a great time.
Girl.
She's a big Rockies fan, and she works for them. So we saw the game. So we went to 2 Rockies games and tried to eat our way through Mexico City.
How'd it go?
Beautiful. It was beautiful.
Was it?
It was great. 23 million people. And I was telling Michael Dean, our executive producer, I was just like, it's so clean there.
Is it?
Sorry, Chris. He's my executive producer.
He is, in our hearts.
Yes.
We'll see you tomorrow. Sounds fun.
Yeah.